Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of Spyder Garage. In this episode, we're going to finally walk you around and tell you everything that was ever wrong with that car. If you're new to the channel and you don't know what this car is, this is our car we call Monztrosity. It's a 77 Monza body swapped onto a 92 Corvette chassis. Something we took a couple years to build because we did take a break on it at some point and built a LS swapped K5 Blazer. Link to that up above there. But if you want to get caught up on this car, we've also got a playlist for this car that goes back to those two and a half years that we started it. And that is up here as well. Now, conversely, if you're a fan of this car, you're probably wondering why it was at LS Fest and it wasn't running. We're going to bring you all up to date on what happened, why it wasn't running at LS Fest, and why you haven't seen it since, and why you haven't seen much of us since that time. If you're not familiar with this car, we debuted Monztrosity in September of 2024 at Holley LS Fest after enduring what I would call an insanely impossible, self-imposed, sadistic deadline. It about killed us. Here's the car 4 weeks before the show. Yeah. And here's the car just 2 days before the show. We're still painting it. The engine is still being rebuilt and assembled. We have to reassemble the car after paint. It had zero glass in the car. I had to search up in the loft in my spare parts for all the window trim, hoping I even still had it. To make matters worse, the Holley oil pan we had overnighted to our house, we accidentally cracked because of a misalignment just hours before we were supposed to leave, which prevented us from actually getting the car running. We hadn't slept for 3.5 days, and just when we were loading the car onto the trailer several hours late, I decided it needed custom-made tinted headlight covers. So I cut them out of a large sheet and handcrafted them individually while we really should have been on the road. Anyway, all of that to say this. By the time we got the car to Bowling Green, Kentucky, we were absolutely spent. We dropped off the car, waiting for our friend Adam to deliver the hood because he didn't have time to finish painting it at our house, installed it while it was on display in the Bear Brakes booth, and then went back to our campsite and collapsed. We honestly don't remember much of that show. We were so exhausted and, quite frankly, burned out that we only visited the car a handful of times just to meet fans, and then the rest of the time was spent not at the show, but at our campsite with our friends. And that is also why you haven't seen much of this car since then. We just needed a break. Nathaniel had just taken on a new job, and my full-time job also had me traveling quite a bit, and still does. So enough complaining, now you guys are up to speed. Plans for Monztrosity are to take him on the long haul power tour in June, and it is the 1st of March today as I'm filming this, and so it looks like a complete car, but there is actually a lot to get done, the least of which is actually to get it running. That's probably the easiest part. But let me walk you around the car, show you around what needs to be done, what was wrong with it, why it was sitting there as kind of a nice, beautiful paperweight during LS Fest, and the monumental list of things we've got to get done in a very short amount of time. I think I'm going to shut this door. It's kind of washing out the video here, so. All right, that's better. Okay, why don't we start in the interior here? Yes, it's been sitting for a while. You notice that we kept the 92 Corvette dash. We thought that was pretty cool. We like that when people come by the car, they look inside and go, wait, what? I'm confused. Yep, it is a complete body swap. You can see a little bit of the back of the Corvette there, but you can see we paneled the outsides of it kind of crudely just to cover up the wheel wells. And we've got an I-Did steering column along with these awesome gauges for a C4 Corvette from NVU Detroit, New Vintage USA. And but the rest of it is all stock Corvette, to include the automatic transmission. I'll explain that here in a little bit. Right off the bat, you'll notice there's no door handles on the outside. You've got to reach inside, grab the door handle that we had to cut the shaft on, move it way back. The original Monza door handle was actually clear up here, but it obviously interfered with the side of the Corvette dash here, so we had to cut the thing, move it back here. This one is functional. You will also notice we had to cut the bottom of the door completely off because look at that frame that sits right there. So that is the only way it lines up. We're gonna reinforce and brace this at some point, but for now, it works. But we actually have door poppers from Spyder USA. You know the guys that make the electric fans? Well, guess what? They also have a door popper, electric door popper kit. And that's over there on the shelf over there. It's probably the least priority right now, but it would be cool if we can get those in before Power Tour. By the way, on the other side, you'll notice that we're missing our mirror. We've been through, I think, 3 doors on this side, and by the time we finally figured out how to adapt the door with the Corvette chassis and get it to work, we're on our 3rd door, because I've got several out back. I've got like a half a dozen still out in the salvage yard. But we cut up too many. This is the 3rd one, and for whatever reason, where the mirror lined up on this one is not the same as over there, so the other mirror we have for this, which is right there, by the way, doesn't line up with those holes. This was kind of this door came from a really stock car with like one of those chrome mirrors. Doesn't fit with that, so we got to drill some new holes, mount that, no big deal. But the other thing we don't have is a door handle. We have a lock down here, it doesn't work. So to open this door, you've got to reach down, grab the cable, pull it, and open it up that way. So even if we don't get the outside door poppers working, we do need to get a door handle on this door as well, because that's going to get pretty annoying. You might have noticed this pretty cool side pipe here. We got to finish the exhaust. At the time of the show, we had this, but not the rest of the pipe. I just happened to have some extra 4-inch pipe just laying around. We just stuck it in there. But if you can tell, it goes nowhere. But again, you know, we had to do what we had to do for the show. Call it a SEMA build if you want. Same thing for this side. What's ironic is this piece right here is a 90 degree, and the one on the other side was a 45, but it was the only 2 4-inch pieces I had to kind of fill in the holes for that, just to get it to the show. Now, what we have planned for this is pretty cool. We have Holley Performance gave us the exhaust cutouts that we used on Miles, so that you got a little remote. You can switch exhaust from one to the other. In Miles' case, we go to open header when we race for drag week, or just back to the regular exhaust for driving down the road. We have a similar setup here, except in this case, the exhaust cutouts are going to either allow it to be open header through the side pipes, or we have a full stainless exhaust that goes all the way down the center of the car, just like a Corvette exhaust would, and all the way out the back. So we're going to have a full exhaust out the back, or the open header side pipes on the side. I think that's pretty cool. And to do that, we've got another U-Fit kit from Flowmaster from Holley Performance to do that. So we got all the bends and shapes and things we need to do that. And also, I have another exhaust from another car that we're kind of incorporating into this. What you're looking at here is a really nice stainless Borla exhaust system that goes the whole length of the Corvette chassis. It actually came off a C4 Corvette. There's a muffler, there's a resonator, stainless exhaust that comes directly off the headers with a V-band clamp to a big center 4-inch pipe down the center, which is the way normal Corvette exhausts actually work. You can see it running right across here. And if you're wondering where I am, this is that elusive loft that I've always referred to in past videos. And if you see all this shelving right here and all of this right here, yes, those are all Monza parts. I'm a nut, I know. All right, a little bit of time has passed since I did this, but I got these shocks installed, so I got this thing up in the air the way it should be. So back here, we've got our panels that we created that Nathaniel built, but they're just kind of zip screwed in here. Plus, we didn't get them completely closed off on the front side here, so there's a lot of air and water and stuff coming in from the outside that would probably hit us in the back of the head here. On the fuel system, we've got a fuel pump over there on the wall that has got to get retrofitted in the original Corvette tank here, and then some AN lines run all the way up front. So fuel system still needs to be figured out as well. And under the hood, it just needs everything. The engine didn't run because we ran into a little issue with our oil pan. I'm not going to get into that.
I had the oil pickup too, but I didn't have time to finish.
Yeah, we just didn't have time. So the engine's going to come back out, transmission's going to come back out. Actually, the automatic that's in there, which is kind of in there as filler right now.
Did we actually? Oh yeah, we did.
We did, yeah, just to kind of hold it in place so it doesn't fall backwards, and kind of gave it the right weight and stance on the car as well. So at least while it was sitting there not running, it looked correct. But that intake you guys haven't seen before. This is a new ultra low ram intake from Holley. The intake we had on there before was one we borrowed from our friend Sean from Sweaty Speed Shop. This is the actual intake. It's going to go on there. We got to create a cold air system. As you can see, there's no wiring on there. There's no, actually, these are just sitting there. I don't have fuel injectors for it. I think the LS1 fuel injectors we have from Miles will probably work for that. I just got to find them. There's no engine management system on there, nor is there any wiring on the entire car. No headlights, no starter, no taillights, nothing inside. The gauges aren't wired up. Yep. The headers are just kind of sitting there with a couple bolts. Not only that, we had a little bit of trouble lining up the transmission and the engine together. So the engine's sitting forward like an extra ½ inch to an inch or something like that. Yeah, I'm starting to remember all those little details now. So anyway, it all comes back out. The automatic's coming out because it's getting replaced with one of these two ZF 6-speeds down here we've got sitting here. There's this one we bought. It's good internal parts, but it got burned up on the outside. This one is also good. Has a little bit of a catch between, I think, first and second, but only at like 6,700 RPM from a guy who used to race it. Otherwise, it's fine. That's the 6-speed that's going to go in the car. That'd be pretty cool. We don't have a clutch for it yet. We don't have a throwout bearing for it yet. We don't even have a third pedal for it yet. So that's something else we got to figure out in the next few months. I want to make a panel to kind of bend and around and clean this up. This is the edge of the dash we had to cut off. I would also love to make a panel for the doors here. Right now we just painted the black. That's just the raw steel guts of the door. It'd be nice to have an actual panel. Super minor, but if I find that we actually have time to do it, which I doubt we will, I'd like to reverse these nuts and bolts so that the nuts are on the inside, because I didn't realize how far they stick out, because they do rub the car a little bit when I shut the tailgate. So super minor, fix it if I need to. Up front here, we don't have a cooling system figured out yet. We got the original Corvette dual fan to go on this Speedway Motors aftermarket radiator. Relay system to figure that out. And then probably the biggest thing, plus we got to seal up our firewall. There's no heater in this thing, obviously, but it would be nice to not have 150-degree air burning your legs off inside. So we got to seal up that firewall. And the biggest change of all is these shocks and monoleaf system on both front and rear are coming out of this, because we have an entire QA1 coilover conversion system that they work with in partnership with Van Steel. And it's going to be awesome. Plus, we kind of need it, because right now the monoleaf system, the extra weight and frame that we welded onto the back of this, adds just a little bit too much weight, and this tire rubs with the stock suspension. So, and an empty gas tank, yeah. So we really need those coilovers so we can adjust that thing up and not destroy our very expensive body panels here. I think that's about it. As it stands right now, we got about 2 months to get this done. I'm going to be gone for about half of that. So good luck, Nathaniel. Whatever, yeah. But that should bring you guys pretty much up to date with this entire thing. It looks like it's a complete car, but obviously it's just a shell of one right now. It looks cool, but it'd be a lot cooler if it ran. So that's the next episode coming up. In fact, we're starting it right now. We're already starting to work on getting things detached so we can pull this engine later tonight. So thanks for watching, guys. We appreciate you so much. We'll see you in the next episode. Take care.